a young Earth. Many physical processes indicating young Earth. Moon regression, you know, moon is going away now, every year, we can measure that, and if you unwound the past, and it got closer and closer and closer, how long would it be before it hit the Earth? Well, it would be 1.4 billion years. Salt buildup in the ocean. We would expect if the salt comes from the ground, wash off, water runoff, and you would expect to see a certain level of salt in the ocean based on the salt in the ground, in the earth, dry earth. And what you see is that a maximum of 76 million years based on the salinity versus of the water and the salinity of the land. Sediment buildup in the ocean, and this is.
I'm sorry. Does that mean there's too much salt in the water to account for?
Not enough.
Not enough. Okay.
Yeah, there's not enough salt in the water to account for billions of years.
For that many years.
Okay. At the most, if you took the salinity of the earth, the ground, and you match it to the ocean, and at the flow levels that we had, that we, you know, the runoff that we have, it calculates 76 million years. Ditto is sediment buildup, maximum of 15 million years. You know, the deltas forming at the, you know, along the continental shelves, 15 million years.
That's just volume related to things. That's just moving coins from one pile to another pile.
Helium buildup in the atmosphere, because remember all this radioactive decay that's going on. We're releasing helium atoms, nuclei. Well, helium is really slippery, and it wiggles its way out of rocks very quickly. And what they're saying is the most this can be with the amount of helium in the upper atmosphere. That's where it comes from. It's from the rocks, radioactivity in the rocks. Maximum of 1.8 million years leakage of helium from the Earth. Earth's magnetic decay. It's decaying about 50% every 1,400 years. Okay, so it was double what it was at the time of Jesus. In the time of Jesus, it's more than double what it is now. And we've been measuring this for 600 years. Okay? And the maximum, if we extrapolated it backwards in time, how strong would it be, right? Every 1,400 years, it's double, about. And even if we put it on a mathematic curve, like a hyperbola or something like parabola, we end up with a maximum of 25,000 years, because at that point, there would be so much magnetic, the field would be so great that organic molecules couldn't form. It would break the bonds of organic molecules. Decay of short period comets is part of that. You know, comets keep flowing around in our around the sun, and they keep burning off every time. And the maximum amount that they could have been flowing around is about 10,000 years. Astronomers agree to this, so they invented this thing called the Oort cloud, which is somewhere out there that kicks in new comets. Nobody's ever seen this thing, but they know it has to be. And the influx of radiocarbon to the Earth, the maximum is about 10,000 years. So, based on a lot of science, and this is all verifiable, the maximum is about 10,000 years is how much we think the Earth could be. This sort of sets the outer limits. And more evidence for a young world. Civilization, all the way from Egypt to China, sprang up about 4,500 years ago. Now, earlier chronologies in Egypt, especially, erroneously stretch it to 3,500 BC because they took the dynasties and put them serially instead of actually they were different parts of Egypt, and many of them were contemporaneous. So if you take the serial stretch out, it's about 2,500 BC. Interesting. Written records sprang up everywhere about 4,500 years ago. There is no record that can be reliably dated before that with carbon-14. Language is traced to about 20 groups, and linguists say, based on the current change of languages that they find today and that they've recorded back through, say, like the time of Rome, we think that was less than 10,000 years ago. There were about 20 different language groups that spread out from someplace in Central Asia, is, in the Mideast. Population genetics show today's population, and that is the calculations for growth. There was a choke. They all agree there was a choke point about 7,000 years ago of about 10 humans. Does that sound familiar? Choke point. They take these genetic studies. Tracing the DNA, people have been tracing mitochondrial DNA, which comes from the mother only because the mother is the one that gives the egg. And studies indicate, and they've done this all over the world, they've been trying to figure out where did we come from. And all the studies now point to some one common female ancestor less than 7,000 years ago. Now for the boys, y'all contribute the Y chromosome. Mom don't. And so we've studied the Y chromosome. Remember I told you about the chromosomal studies? To find out what the difference is in the Y chromosome, and doing statistical analysis, they say it looks like, of course this can't be true, it looks like there was a common one male ancestor less than 7,000 years ago. In fact, these studies were published in popular magazines like Time and Life and Newsweek, National Geographic. You can look this up.
Yeah, they tracked them on the continents or something.
Yes.
I saw that.
And they all came from the Mideast.
That's right.
And mutation load, we talk about mutation load, indicates that the genome can't be millions of years old, but thousands maybe, because it's degrading so fast.
Yeah.
So, and if you look at the Bible, this is what I think is the accurate record. Okay? The Bible actually does speak of the age of the earth, and it says, from the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. So at the beginning of the creation, which is right here, God made them. Because God made them on the 6th day. And let's take a look at Adam. They did track the male line. I'm sorry, ladies. It's just the way it happened. And they tracked the male line. And if you line up Adam begat Seth, who begat Enosh, who begat Canaan, who begat Mahalalel. You add up when their firstborn was born, and when that one's firstborn was, Trace one was born, you end up with an age going all the way down to Moses. We know when Moses lived, okay? So you can go backwards like this. And what you'll find is that and this is what the Jews believe, because this is their calendar, okay? This is their calendar year, 57, what is it, 5783 or something like that. They say Adam was born in year 0, or created in year 0. And if we crank this back from our dates, we're not sure exactly about this. I put this down as 2302 BC. And this range is a little bit, because there are some ambiguities about when exactly somebody was born, so that kind of can move around. Like if they said they were born, it could have been in a year or so. That year could have crossed several our years, because they had a different calendar. So anyway, the flood was about 4,500 years ago, and creation was about that. So here's another view, which is just as valid as all those other ones with all that scientific accuracy. This is pretty accurate. This is a eyewitness account. And so the conclusion are, you can't prove scientifically how old the Earth is, billions of years. The new evidence from various study groups show that nuclear K supports a young model. Many scientific evidences for a young Earth, and the Bible documents a special creation much less than 10,000 years ago.